Homeward Bound Daily Devotional by N.G. White. God understands. February 9th. Of his fullness we have received, and grace for grace. John chapter 1 verse 16. Since Jesus came to dwell with us, we know that God is acquainted with our trials and sympathizes with our grief. Every son and daughter of Adam may understand that our Creator is the friend of the sinner. For in every doctrine of grace, every promise of joy, every deed of love, every divine attraction presented in the Saviour's life on earth, we see God with us. Satan represents God's law of love as a law of selfishness. He declares that it is impossible for us to obey its precepts. The fall of our first parents, with all the woes that has resulted, he charges upon the Creator, leading people to look upon God as an author of sin and suffering and death. Jesus was to unveil this deception. As one of us, he was to give an example of obedience. For this he took upon himself our nature and passed through our experience. In all things it behooved him to be made like unto his brethren. Hebrews chapter 2 verse 17. If we had to bear anything which Jesus did not endure, then upon this point Satan would represent the power of God as insufficient for us. Therefore Jesus was in all points tempted like as we are. Hebrews chapter 4 verse 15. He endured every trial to which we are subject, and he exercised his own behalf no power that is not freely offered to us. As a human, he met temptation and overcame in the strength given him from God. He says, I delight to do thy will, O my God, yea, thy law is within my heart. Psalm chapter 40 verse 8. As he went about doing good and healing all who were afflicted by Satan, he made plain to all the character of God and the nature of his service. His life testified that it is possible for us also to obey the laws of God. By his humanity, Christ touched humanity. By his divinity, he laid hold upon the throne of God. As the Son of Man, he gave us an example of obedience. As the Son of God, he gives us power to obey. It was Christ who from the bush on the Mount Horeb spoke to Moses, saying, I am that I am. And to us he says, I am the good shepherd. I am the living bread. I am the way, the truth, and the life. All power is given unto me in heaven and in earth. John chapter 10 verse 11, 6:51, 14 verse 6, and Matthew 28:18. I am the assurance of every promise. I am not afraid. God with us is the surety of our deliverance from sin and assures us of our power to obey the laws of heaven. Homeward Bound.